Today I'm very excited to welcome Machelle Cohn, City of Oroville Park Commissioner and President of the Oroville Docent Association, as our representative for Oroville Museums. Thank you, Machelle, for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
What is your role as the City of Oroville Park Commissioner here?
The Park Commission serves as a body to oversee the parks and actually it's parks and trees, so we also have something to do with the trees and landscapes around Oroville.
Yeah.
And they also are over the 5 city museums and the grounds of those museums.
Nice. And how many museums are there in Oroville?
There are 9 museums in Oroville. 2 of them are private, 2 belong to the Butte County Historical Society, and the 5 are city museums.
Perfect. And can you give us a brief overview of what's to see and do at each of the 5 city museums? And we can start with CF Lot Home.
Okay, well, what to view? The Charles F. Fayette Lot Home is a Victorian home.
Yeah.
It was built in 1856. It was, it's an interesting story because Judge Lot, he was a judge, he came here for the gold.
Mm-hmm.
And then discovered that he could make more money with his attorney fees and so on and so forth, so he started doing that. Bought the property, it's a whole city block, and built this home there. And he was a senator also, so he was very active within the politics and in early Oroville government. He brought his wife back. He went back to Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And brought his wife back, and I might be wrong on Ohio. I have to remember that one. But they had 3 children, and so it's a family home. It was actually lived in until 1960, and then it was deeded over to the city.
Wow.
So yeah, it was in the family a very long time.
Yeah.
He had like I said, 3 children.
Mm-hmm.
The one daughter died very young. She died when she was about 3, and then he had Cornelia and then Junior.
Nice.
Now, Cornelia was born with a tick, sort of, and a limp. And so father decided that she was, if anyone wanted to marry her, that it was only for the money that they had. So he forbade her to marry.
Mm-hmm.
And also the son, because the son was not as bright as dad. Anyway, so it's a family story.
Yeah.
The whole, the romantic part of the story is that Cornelia fell in love with Jess Sank, but she was not allowed to marry, and Dad wouldn't let her marry, and so she didn't. And then when Dad died, Brother wouldn't let her marry, and then finally when he died, within about 2 months she was married to Jess Sank.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I know, it took
a while.
And so that's the romantic side of it. And there's some things within the museum that demonstrate the love that Jess Sank had for Cornelia.
Aww.
And one of the things which, if you ever get a chance to visit our museum, in the hearth in front of the fireplace is written the word love.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It is sweet. And then they enjoyed themselves. But she was like 50 years old when they married, so they were too old to have children. But they had about 25 years of a very good marriage. And the grounds, which is called Sank Park, which is the rest of the city block besides the home, were designed a lot by Jess Sank, and he did a lot of little things that he did specifically for little mosaic things and different items that he did for Cornelia.
What a sweet story.
It was a sweet story. And there's another little story about gold too. So in the lot home,
Mm-hmm.
when Jess and Cornelia were pulling up some carpet in the back bedroom that belonged to Junior,
Mm-hmm.
they found gold coins underneath that carpet.
Ooh.
So when we have children visit, we give them little gold coins.
Oh, that's so nice.
So
That's fun.
It's something above but there's a lot of stories there.
Yeah.
They had a Chinese cook. I mean, it's, like I said, the family lived there a
Yeah.
very long time. So there's a lot of stories within that Victorian home.
Gotta go check it out. And how about the Pioneer Museum?
Pioneer Museum was built in 1932 as a museum.
Mm-hmm.
It was built on the site of a sawmill, one of Oroville's first sawmill. When you enter the doors are from the Masonic Lodge that was up in Forbstown. Those
Mm-hmm.
big, huge metal doors that open up.
Yeah.
It looks small, and the original part is fairly small, but it actually now has 6,000 square feet of artifacts and exhibition areas.
Mm-hmm.
The original part that was built in the manner of a miner's cabin, so it's built out of hand-hewn timbers up in the ceiling, and the rocks were from a quarry around here. There is some interesting items there. The period that the Pioneer covers is 1840s to about 1900s.
Mm-hmm.
And so the artifacts reflect those periods. A lot about gold mining.
Yeah.
There's going to be we have some lovely Indian baskets in the museum.
I love
and
those.
the sections are put into, different areas are put into like rooms. So we have a sewing room, we have a kitchen, we have a bedroom, we have a pharmacy, child's room, and then downstairs we have like a blacksmith shop, saddle shop. There's the Grand Army of the Republic section and a Native American section.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's quite a lot of things to look at.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
One of the notable things, we have a doll from the Donner Party.
Wow.
There is a gold needle, which a local miner made for his wife so she could sew, because they couldn't get the supplies up to the mining camps, so she needed to sew, and he made her a needle. And, and I like the blacksmith shop downstairs a lot, because of some of the boards that are up there are actually from a blacksmith would make the branding irons
Mm-hmm.
for the local ranchers, and he would test them on his side of his building. And so we actually have those boards from a blacksmith shop that was downtown put into that display, and I really enjoy seeing that also.
Yeah, that's so unique.
Yeah, anyway, that's what the Pioneer is. Yeah, like I said, 6,000 square foot. There's a lot to see there.
Yeah, definitely. And next is the Chinese Temple and Museum Complex.
The Chinese temple was built in 1863. Actually, they had wooden ones before, but they burnt down, and then they built this one out of local brick.
Mm-hmm.
It is a complex. It has, I think, 9 buildings, 9 different areas anyway that you can go into. There is 3 temples areas, and the first one is called the Temple of Many Gods, because they built it. Originally, the population, there was quite an extensive Chinese population in Oroville,
Mm-hmm.
and they had different religions, so that particular worship area was built so anybody could go in and worship. It wasn't restricted to one particular, like Confucianism or Taoism or something like that. And so it is probably the most visited part of that museum. And then there's there's some special things about that museum. I mean, about
Yeah.
those temple areas that we get to tell people. One of the things is there's a board that you have to step over,
Mm-hmm.
and that is to keep the evil spirits out, because they can't step over it. I mean, all these little things around there that indicate what their religion was and what their beliefs were. And when you leave that area and go into, we have a tapestry room
Mm-hmm.
with some very valuable tapestries up. And tapestries are interesting, not just because of the artwork that's on them, you know, the woven artwork, but they also have little mirrors in them. And those little mirrors are, again, to keep away the evil spirits.
Wow.
So, I mean, there's just, I don't know, it's interesting because you look at a different culture and you find out what their beliefs were. And this is one museum that, there's no other museum like this in this area.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually pretty much on the West Coast to have all the artifacts that we have in that museum, because they were left there
Yeah.
during the mining period. Most of the Chinese left about early 1900s
Mm-hmm.
after some flooding. And then this museum was given to the city. Eventually it took it over in about 1936 or something like that.
Wow.
And then it became a city museum. So as far as our 5 museums, it's been in the city, under the city for the longest.
Definitely.
And like I said, there's a moon temple, there's the Chan room. So there are 3 worship areas altogether,
Mm-hmm.
plus another room that has fashions from both the Asian and American fashions from 1800s to early 1900s.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a collection.
Yeah, that sounds really awesome. And what about the Boltz Antique Tool Museum?
Both the Antique Tool Museum, Bud Boltz and his wife Leila had been collecting tools for about 50 years,
Mm-hmm.
and they needed a place to put it. Eventually it ended up becoming, giving it to the city.
Mm-hmm.
They have, when the first started, I think they had about 9,000 tools. I think they have about 12,000 tools now in their museum.
Oh, wow.
It's quite a collection, and he is quite an entertaining person to talk to because he knows about all those tools. It has his symbol is a wrench, and he really is in the wrench. He gives you the history of tools and the history of the. He likes to give a talk on that.
Yeah.
The history of tools, but it has. It's hard to describe how many different tools there are there, and some of them are. When I guess probably what interested me most there was that when they started, manufacturing automobiles and so on and so forth, each tool was specific to the brand because it only fit that brand, it wouldn't fit any others. And it wasn't until they started standardizing them later on that you could get a tool that would work with everything. But in the early days, when you had tools, it would be just for that, and only that. And he has some of those. He also has, I don't know, I'm trying to, it's been a while since I've been seeing the Boltz, but he has ironworking tools, he has carpenter tools, he has some kitchen tools, because after all, those are tools too.
Yeah.
And it's a place that the kids really love to go because they get to get their hands on, they can touch.
Yeah.
You can touch things in that museum where you can't do that in some of the others.
Definitely.
So, and it is a place where, like I said, a lot of children really like to go. They can dig, they have a wheelbarrow of sand and you dig out the tools and match them to a board. So it's very interactive.
Yeah, that sounds like so much fun. And last one here, the Feather River Nature Center.
Feather River Nature Center, that was actually Oroville's first park. It was 1935 when they built the bathhouse because it had been used by the city for swimming hole. It had a nice sandy beach. It was just a beautiful place, a nice pool of water. So they built the bathhouse in 1935. 1937, a big flood came and washed away all the sand, washed away the beach, washed away the rocks, changed the way the river ran, so there was no longer the swimming pool there, and damaged the bathhouse. So it was abandoned for like 60 years, and it became a place where a lot of vagrants were going, and kids were doing graffiti and all that sort of thing. The city thought they might tear it down. A bunch of the locals decided they would want to do something else with it, so they just took it over, and they fixed up that beautiful bathhouse, because the bathhouse itself stood, but the interior, the roof had gone and everything. They replaced the roof, cleaned up the area, put picnic tables out, and started planting the native plants there. And so they did that, and then the city took it over in I'm not sure of the exact date, but like 1998 or something like that. The city took that museum over, and now they they're still planting. With the last flooding that we had, they lost a lot of their plants again, and so they're now replanting the area with native plants and cleaning it up. And it is in the bathhouse itself. They have displays like things that are from the stuff. They have stuffed owls and animals that are local to the area, and some of the stones that are there. They have a person who was responsible for getting the community together for this building was Rex Burris, and he used to write for the column in the River Watcher in the Enterprise Record, and he has passed. But they're building a memorial garden for him.
Aww.
Because he was so instrumental in that particular museum and so knowledgeable.
Yeah.
But that's what's going on there. It opens it's seasonal for that museum.
Okay.
So it opens up when when it's warm enough for it to open.
Yeah. And what are the future plans for the Oroville Museums?
Well, the future plans, there are quite a few things in the works. We have, for the Nature Center itself, like I said, the Memorial Park, and it is, I stop for a minute. The Nature Center is, will be, when they get that done, they hope to have a dedication for Rex Burris.
Yeah.
The Boltz Museum is always, and it's an ongoing thing, he gets tools all the time, so he's changing his displays, and he likes to give, when appropriate, which it hasn't been this last year, but he does third Saturday talks about tools, and sometimes he'll do something about early Ford or something like that, and the Ford people will come and bring their cars, and and one of his other kind of talks is about the tractors, and they'll bring their old tractors out. So he does that on a regular basis on his third Saturday talks.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Oh, they're good. And then we have events on an annual basis for both the Pioneer and the Lot Home, and actually the Temple. The Lot Home has a mistletoe party every Christmas time, and we put on that, and they have the bell ringers come, and they do a program of tea and cookies and so on and so forth, and that's a free event. The Pioneer does a Pioneer Christmas, same sort of thing. We invite the public to come in for free and visit the museum and have music and something there so they can visit that museum and see it. The Temple would be having its annual Chinese New Year celebration in this February.
Yeah.
However, we're not doing that this year, but we hope to do that again. And they open up again. It's another open house for the museum with usually somebody does calligraphy or some other events like that, and we have events for kids and so on and so forth. And then all 5 museums are open. When they are open, they're visited by a lot of schools, a lot of the school programs, specifically, I mean, not just from Oroville, from Chico and Gridley and so on and so forth. They come over and they visit those museums so that they fit in when they fit into their particular curriculum.
Yeah.
Actually, we had some from Marysville the other day, a while back.
Nice. And Explore Butte County's Museum Weekend is happening February 27th and 28th. Are Oroville's museums planning any virtual experiences?
We recently, like in the beginning of this year, we had actually, I guess it was more like November, we had some video tours made of all the museums, all 5 of them, and those are currently being edited, and we hope to have those released. And there'll be a virtual tour of each of the 5 museums. There'll be about 20 minutes, and we hope everyone gets a chance to see them, and those tours encourage people to come visit us and see us in person.
Yeah.
And the other thing the virtual tours were for, they were also a recruiting tool, so we could recruit maybe some more docents so that we could cover our museums and maybe have them open more days and have maybe 2 docents per museum whenever possible.
Yeah. And is there anything else that you would like to add, Machelle?
I think that I would like to say that these are treasures, and for the Oroville, they have they're an attribute to this community, and we appreciate and would invite anybody to come see us when we are open. And they may ask our docents are very well informed, and they can ask all sorts of questions and find a lot about the history of this area.
Yeah. All right.